story. Long ago, there existed a prosperous kingdom by the sea. And now the king of this land had a trusted vizier, who was a very religious man, and whenever he was asked for advice on a subject, he only said, "There is goodness in it." One day, the king lost his finger during a hunting expedition. He asked his vizier, "What should I do? The people will laugh at me." And the vizier only replied, "There is goodness in it." The king became enraged at this insolence and had his vizier thrown in jail. A couple months later, the king's out hunting with his new advisor when the company is attacked by savages. One by one, the savages are slaughtering the king's men as sacrifices for their gods. But on reaching the king, they stopped, proclaiming that a man with only 9 fingers was not wholesome enough for their god. The king stumbled home and went at once to his old vizier, begging forgiveness for his actions. And to his surprise, the vizier said, "God planned goodness in this for me too. See, if I had gone with you, I would have been killed." Now in this story, the vizier extols the virtue of patience. And yet all we hear in society today is that patience is a virtue. Do any of us really know what patience means? The root of the word sabr is sabara, meaning to bind or restrain. This tells us that in being patient, we are not merely enduring what is difficult, as Webster's dictionary says. We are restraining ourselves from complaining, from questioning what we have been allotted in life. We are binding ourselves to Allah's will. At its most basic level in the Arabic language, patience is self-control. But why be patient? What's the point, other than our mothers told us to, or a good Muslim is supposed to? Well, there are reasons for every command Allah has given us. Everything we're told to do is for our own benefit. Let's look at just what the benefits are for being patient, starting with rewards in this dunya. Health researchers of Duke University, they recently did a study on childhood patience and later success in life. And they found something really interesting. They saw that children who were not patient ended up being murderers, drunk drivers, smoking, drinking, getting laid off, and committing suicide. While those who had exercised patience in their childhood were successful, happy people. The more patience you exercised, the more likely you were to lead a safe and healthy lifestyle. SubhanAllah, our religion has realized and blessed us with a truth that the finest researchers of the land have only just begun to discover. In this dunya, patience, self-restraint, it all guarantees our material success. And yet, what of the akhirah? To truly understand the purpose of patience for the next life, we must learn by example. Recall the life of the Prophet when Islam had just begun to blossom in the hearts of the people. His patience was unparalleled. When trash was thrown at him in the streets, when Abu Lahab threw intestines at him at the Kaaba, when the children of Taif threw stones at him until his feet were sticky with blood, he never once lost his patience. Does anyone remember Sumayya bint Khabab, the first martyr of Islam? She was tied down beneath the heat of the relentless sun, whipped, beat, spit upon. And did she succumb? She only turned to Allah and prayed for strength. Abu Jahl drove his spear up through her insides. Imagine it. Put your hand on your stomach and imagine someone skewering you, driving a piece of metal up through your abdomen. We can't even begin to fathom that sort of pain. And what was the price of her patience? What was so dear to Sumayya that was worth her life? Jannah. I want to tell you another story, a personal one. My brother and I have a mutual friend from high school, Logan. Now he's a pretty optimistic guy, always thankful to God, smiling. But in the summer of his sophomore year, his father shot himself in the head. Now Logan was devastated. When we said, "Logan, are you doing okay?" he said he was fine. I'm not the only one suffering. He was happy because he had his mother and his sister and his His best friend Mitchell really helped him, and they'd become very close. But in the spring of his senior year in high school, Mitchell fell off the back of a moving truck and went brain dead. His best friend, a vegetable. Now this is a guy who just lost two of the closest people in his life in the span of 2 years. When my brother asked him, "Logan, are you doing okay?" he said he was fine. He said he was still thankful to guess who? To God. Abu Hurairah reported that the Prophet said, "Never a believer is stricken with a discomfort, an illness, a worry, a grief, even the pricking of a thumb, but that his sins will be expiated on account of his patience." Patience is the gateway to Jannah. We don't have half as much adversity in our time as the Prophet, as Sumayyah, as Logan. The least we can do for ourselves, for our own salvation, is to have patience. Endure every hardship with the knowledge that we are paving our own way to heaven. Michael Jordan was kicked off of his high school basketball team. J.K. Rowling's first Harry Potter book was turned down by 11 publishers. Beethoven's music teacher told him he was hopeless. Yet each of these now world-famous figures endured, persevered, had patience. And who are they today? A national bestseller, a virtuoso whose pieces are timeless, a basketball legend. If we have the patience to endure, to put up a fight, to stay standing even when the going gets tough, then ask yourself, who might you become?